Today, we're diving into a really fascinating argument that Tesla isn't just a car company, but the architect of a future autonomous empire. So let's break down exactly how this vision is being built. Okay, so when you hear the name Tesla, what's the first thing that pops in your head? For most of us, it's cars, right? Sleek, fast, high-tech electric vehicles that have totally shaken up the auto industry. And you're not wrong, but according to the analysis we're explaining, that's just the very, very tip of the iceberg.
But what if focusing on the cars is completely missing the point? What if the vehicles we see on the road are just the first step in a much, much bigger plan? A plan that has less to do with selling you a car and everything to do with building the literal infrastructure for an AI-powered future.
You know, to really get your head around this, you have to understand the problem they're trying to solve. Elon Musk has said over and over again that our current way of getting around is fundamentally broken. And whenever you have a broken system, well, you've also got a massive opportunity for disruption.
And that brings us to the core idea from our source material today. Tesla isn't just a car company. It's an AI and robotics company, methodically building piece by piece the foundation for a multi-trillion-dollar empire built on autonomous services.
All right, so if it's not just about the cars, what is it about? Let's pull back the curtain and look at this whole AI-powered ecosystem they're building.
You've probably seen the headlines about the Cybercab, the Robo-van, and of course, the Optimus robot. But here's the thing, these aren't just separate, cool-looking products. Think of them as pieces of a single, interconnected system, designed to work together to tackle huge challenges in both transportation and labor.
Yeah, we're not talking about small, incremental improvements here. This isn't just making a slightly better taxi or a more efficient delivery van. It's a total, from the ground up, reimagining of how autonomous services could run on a massive global scale.
Okay, so how does a revolution like this actually get started? Well, it begins by completely flipping the economics of how we get from point A to point B.
Let's take a look at the Cybercab. This thing is designed for disruption from the get-go. No steering wheel, no pedals. That's not just for show. It means more space and simpler manufacturing. It even has wireless charging, so it can refuel itself. Every single piece of this vehicle was built for one job: autonomous ride-hailing.
And this is where the math really starts to change. Think about owning a car. You've got depreciation, insurance, maintenance, gas, parking. It all adds up. A robo-taxi service just wraps all of that into one simple per-mile fare. It completely changes the financial model of getting around. And here it is, the number that makes this whole thing tick. The source projects an operating cost of just 20 cents per mile. 20 cents. Now, even after you add taxes, fees, and a profit margin, the cost to you, the rider, could be so cheap that owning a car in a city just stops making financial sense for a lot of people.
But it's not just about you getting a ride to work. They're also targeting mass transit with the Robo-van. The idea here is to solve all the things we kind of hate about public transit, right? It's often cramped, feels impersonal, and costs a ton to run. The Robo-van aims for this super open design and an even lower operating cost, making it a totally different kind of experience for group travel.
All right, so they're tackling transportation, but the vision for autonomy goes way, way beyond that. It's aiming for something even more fundamental to our entire economy: labor.
I mean, look, disrupting the entire transportation industry, that already sounds insanely ambitious, right? But what about disrupting the very idea of physical work itself? And this is where Optimus comes in. The source really zeroes in on its hands. They have 22 degrees of freedom, giving them this incredibly human-like dexterity. But the real kicker? The projected cost. We're talking $20,000 to $30,000, less than a lot of cars. And the initial plan is brilliant. Put thousands of them to work in their own factories. That creates this perfect test bed to make them better and better while they're already saving the company money. And the potential market here, it's honestly hard to even wrap your head around. The source we're looking at says the vision for Optimus is what's behind these jaw-dropping projections of a $25 trillion valuation. No, that's not a typo. 25 trillion. That's the kind of number you see when you're talking about creating entire new economies built on automated labor.
Okay, so the big question has to be, how? How can one company even attempt all of this at the same time? Well, the answer comes down to one single foundational advantage. It's a concept called a data moat. In the world of AI, data is king. It's the food that the AI eats to get smarter. The more real-world data you have, the better your AI becomes. And it's not just any data.
It's the messy, unpredictable, real-world stuff, like driving in a surprise hailstorm or navigating around a double-parked truck. You just can't get that from a simulation.
And Tesla's data moat is, well, it's enormous. We're talking over 1.3 billion miles of real-world driving data collected from its customers' cars. To put that in perspective, our source points out that they're collecting this data 110 times faster than their closest competitor, Waymo. This huge data set is the secret sauce, the fuel that powers the AI for everything, the Cybercab, the Robovan, and yes, even Optimus.
So let's bring it all together. Let's connect this incredible tech vision to the dollars and cents. This chart from ARK Invest, which is cited in our source, really tells the whole story. By 2029, they're projecting that almost 90% of Tesla's value will come from the robotaxi business. All those car sales we see today, they basically become a side business, just the hardware needed to run the real moneymaker, a massive, autonomous ride-hailing network. So how do we know if any of this is actually going to happen? The source lays out 4 key things to watch for. First, does full self-driving keep getting better? That's number 1. Second, do they actually launch a robotaxi service somewhere? Third, can they actually build these new vehicles, the Cybercab and Robovan, at scale? And finally, do we see Optimus robots actually working in factories and proving their worth? These are the big tests.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question, right? Are we looking at the actual blueprint for our autonomous future, one that's being built on an AI advantage that no one else can touch? Or is this just the single biggest, most mind-boggling bet in business history? I guess the next few years are going to give us our answer.